Leicester Till I Die podcasts on the Apple iTunes, Spotify, Google, Anchor, and all podcast platforms.
You are watching Leicester Till I Die TV with Chris and Chumps. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest. All you need for everything Leicester City FC. It's Leicester Till I Die TV.
Strap yourself in,
because we're set up, switched on, and ready to go.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here. Now be sure to watch Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV by subscribing on YouTube and following them on social media for all the latest Leicester City news and information. Come on you foxes!
Good evening, fellow Fox fans. How the devil are we? Welcome along. It's Wednesday night. It's the new night for the preview show, and we are previewing this weekend's game, which I may well have put in the description. I've just seen a comment that's come up as Saturday. Of course, it is Sunday. Forgive me. I've had the jab today. I've had my COVID jab today. So if I suddenly start, just put up with me today. Give me a break. I've been a bit of a pincushion today. Anyway, how are we all doing? Feeling happy after the weekend? Wasn't expecting that. Was you? Well, this weekend we've obviously got the midweek small matter of Europa League game, but at the weekend it's a small matter of revenge. I know, we need to get our bone back, don't we, on them? 91st minute, still hurts that, it still hurts. Welcome along, this is Leicester Till I Die TV, and you can watch us live in one of 3 or 4 places. You've got YouTube, we are on Leicester Till I Die TV on that platform, and if you're on there, watching us on there, please give the subscribe button. We'd love to get up to the 500 likes and followers and subscriptions, etc, etc. So give that little subscribe button a click if you do not mind. Facebook, Leicester Till I Die, the group, and if you are on that, click the StreamYard link, brings your name up so we can see who we're talking to, and Twitter and Periscope at Leicester TID. And if you want to catch up with us afterwards, as well as catching up on YouTube, we are on all your favourite podcast platforms, including Apple iTunes, Spotify, Anchor, and Google, to name just 4. So, yes, it is. It's going to be Aston Villa. It's going to be Sunday. It's going to be 2 o'clock. And just to prove that I'm not totally stupid, just part of the time, here you go. Sunday the 21st of February at Villa Park at 2 o'clock. It is on Sky Sports if you have that platform, or you can listen to it on lcfc.com free of charge. Obviously, BBC Radio Leicester will be covering it as well. Let me get my chat chum in, because it is the preview show, and that can only mean one thing. It's the other half of the Muppets. It's good evening from me, and it's good evening from him. Good evening, Craig.
Good evening, Chris, and thanks for such a wonderful introduction. Much appreciated.
What can I say? I'm running out of nice things to say about you. If anybody's watching and they know anything nice I can say about Craig in the introductions, please send it to me. The season's not coming to an end quickly enough. I'm running out.
Come on,
Steve
everybody,
Lynex,
just fill in the comments. We need some nice things about me.
Yeah, we'll be on air
Please.
for about 45 minutes, so you got time to think something up.
Oh,
No Steve Lynex today. I think the poor guy's still working. So we wish him well wherever he is. He may pop in later if he's back in time. Who knows? I do know he enjoys coming on. So I hope you're all right, Steve. Craig, let's start by saying Leicester City 3. Liverpool 1, Leicester City 3. Wasn't expecting. I didn't see it coming. Did you?
quite frankly, no. Even during the game, I didn't see it coming. I think until Mr. VAR got involved. I thought it was a bit of a disappointing game up until that point. To be honest, I think we were nice and neat, and we did have a couple of chances, and we never know whether the Vardy one that hit the bar would have stood, but we probably created as much as they did. I think it was just it was a game where it looked like nobody wanted to lose it, rather than somebody going all out to win it. To me,
yeah, I'm going to just quickly say good evening to Ivan from Sierra Leone. Good evening, Ivan.
Hello,
Thanks for tuning in over there. And yeah, this time we will beat Villa. Let's hope so. I mean, I was watching the game, obviously, Craig, and it reminded me very much of the Arsenal game where we were pretty awful. Yeah. We were soaking the pressure up, but obviously with that one, we got the 3 points as well. And at 1-1, and I heard this on the radio from Danny Murphy, and he said, and he had a fair point, at 1-1, probably Liverpool still looked the team most likely to go on and win it until their goalkeeper had a rush of blood to the head.
Probably, I'm not sure. I don't think you could make that argument other than momentum, the fact that they had some momentum at that point. I can't really remember Schmeichel having to, excuse me, to do too much, too many saves. To be honest, there was no danger of his corset bursting. That's for sure. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, have a word with the Czech Republic journalists. Yes, apparently they have apologised. But I think Liverpool would have taken the 1-0 and would have, if they could have, closed up shop. But they're not in a position to do that at the minute. The defence is dodgy, to say the least.
They are on a poor run of form, although obviously that was changed around last night in the Champions League. Oh, excuse me. Forgive me. We've got a really good record this year, and I know against the so-called Big Six. I mean, I know we lost to we lost to Liverpool quite badly at home, but we've beaten or drawn with all the top six sides. It is teams like Villa, West Ham, Fulham that we struggle against.
Yeah, it's that sort of middling group, isn't it? Those who are sort of on the periphery of the Champions League spots and the Europa League. They're the ones who seem to be causing us troubles. We've always had a pretty poor record over the last few years against the top six, and that's what's let us down. But this year we seem to have turned that around. But it's just the frustrating defeats. And my biggest worry about this game coming up is the fact that we tend to struggle a little bit against the stronger running teams. Villa in the first game, even Fulham, we weren't convincing against Fulham, I don't think. So those kinds of Leeds, another example, strong running team who ran all over us, to be honest. So I think we've got to be a little bit cautious with this game.
Rob, good evening to Rob. How the devil are you, sir? Possession doesn't win games, goals wins games. I like it, Rob. It's very true. It's one of those there. If that ball had gone in the net, it would have been a goal. Stephen, this was what I was laughing at earlier. Chris, can you address Craig in your opening as the wise sage? I think you missed
thank
old.
You very much, Stephen.
I think you missed old out there. Wise old sage.
No, I don't think you need that. I think wise sage. Thank you very much, Stephen. If you let me have your address, the check will be in the post.
somebody may think Stephen is creeping a little bit here, but let's go back to the first half of the season, and we were going along quite well. We were up there. We're the only team, and I was amazed when I read this the other day. We're the only team that actually has been in the top 4 all season.
Yes, I heard that myself, and that's quite an accolade, to be honest, isn't it? We went through that little phase where I think there was 4 teams who topped the table in a day or over a weekend. The likes of ourselves. I think Southampton were top for a while, and
Tottenham, I think Tottenham started. Yeah, I think Tottenham. Then there was just from Southampton, and I can't remember. It might have been Liverpool. I can't remember who the 4th one was, but. Of course, that was the hour when Tottenham were going to win the league.
Yes, of course. To be honest, I think I was fooled for a little while. But yeah, I mean, we've all complained, we've all moaned about the odd performance. We can all be manager. I try to be the manager and do a little bit of. Team selecting DIY, as it were, but we've been there all season, so that is something that we, as Leicester fans, we should be proud of. What it will make it more difficult is that if we manage to slip out, it's going to be even worse. So I really hope that we last the course.
I was just about to say we'll be top 4. All apart from the last day. That's Leicester all over for you. But
I think we've got a tricky. Sorry, Chris. I think we've got a tricky last 3 or 4 games, haven't we?
We have, yes. Yeah. I think 3 of those, or certainly the last 3, are against 3 of the so-called Big 6. But do you remember? Like I say, we're going along really, really well. All was looking rosy. We'd got over our sort of injuries that we thought were going to ruin our season, and we'd brought sort of players we'd forgotten about in. And this happened. Yeah. Ross Barkley popped up in the 91st minute, and that's what hurts as much as anything. And we lost.
We did, as Rob said, goals win games, and they got one. To be honest, from what I can remember of that game, which is little, to be honest, I'm not sure either team deserved to win that. It was a little bit of a patch that we were going through, and it was just disappointing. That's a game where you got to turn those losses into draws if you're going to stick around at the top. For the majority of the season, we've done that. We have had some frustrating defeats, but we've had victories where we wouldn't have thought that we'd got victories as well. But I mean, Villa are a funny team at the minute. They've always got a player or two who can crop up and do something like that. And Ross Barkley's a decent player. I wouldn't have minded us getting him. To be honest, I think he lost his way at Chelsea. It'd be interesting to see whether Villa can stump up the cash to get him permanently, because the irony and the catch-22 is that the better he plays for Villa, the higher his price will be come the summer if they want to buy it. Because, he's not going to get a chance to impress Tuchel over at Chelsea. So by the time the season's finished, you would have thought that Tuchel will have his team organised in his head, and Barkley won't be part of it. So it'd be interesting for him personally.
I totally agree with you. Reminds me of Tillemans. The longer he played for us on his loan, each week the price went up.
Yeah.
Rob's asking here, how many more wins do you think we need to get Champions League? I've got to be totally honest with you, Rob, and I'm going to bring the table in here. It's so tight. I mean, Chelsea. Well, in fact, that's out of date now. In fairness, Liverpool have gone down. That I did that a few days ago, but Chelsea have come back. Liverpool have dropped out of the thing. I think we've just got to go out and win as many as we can. And I don't think you can say, oh, another so many wins will do it, because Chelsea have turned it around. West Ham are hanging in there. Liverpool, with Liverpool, they could turn it around at any time. I don't know what your thoughts are. I think it could go right down, like you say, the last 3 games, right down to the end of the season.
I think you've got to be looking at least another 10 wins and another 30 points to get to sort of, I think it's going to be mid-70s, 80 points is going to get you in the Champions League this year. I mean, it may be, that might be enough to win you the title, but I doubt it very much. But I think the thing is that people are taking points off each other. And the key thing is, particularly against those teams such as Villa, such as West Ham, Everton, Chelsea, is important that while we have that little buffer, that we don't lose to them. I think that's the key thing. Yes, we want wins, but the important thing is that we don't lose and we don't let them make up that gap. But I think we're going to need another 10 wins. And if you look down the fixtures, I guess we all have our own views of where those 10 may come from. Every game's tricky. We know it. Some of the results that we've seen recently, people go on a good run of form and then all of a sudden there's a banana skin waiting around the corner. So we've managed to get over a couple of potential banana skins recently with the Fulham and the like. So I think it's just a head down, and as much as it's a cliche, I think they will be taking one game as it comes. And as the injuries start to pile up again, even more importantly, and it may get to a point where Brendan has to start to pick and choose which competitions he prefers to put a strong team out.
Yeah, Rob's agreeing with both of us. Their last 3 games are hard. They certainly are. Leicester never do it the easy way. I mean, I'm just looking now because Liverpool have dropped to 6th. They could, I think, have dropped down even further had Everton won the other night, but that was a good result for us again. We've got that gap, but we know last year how easy it is for Leicester shoot ourselves in the foot and throw these things away.
Well, Everton are a prime example. They'd had a little dip, then they came back very strong. It looked like they had games in hand that they could have gone above Liverpool, and they have consecutive home defeats to Newcastle and Fulham. I mean, nobody would have seen one of those coming, let alone the 2. So we just have to be on our game every time we step over the line. And I think you are starting to see a little bit of cautiousness from Brendan. I think it was good to see in the Liverpool game that they did have a plan. And in the game before, I think, in the Brighton, the cup game, that they do plan for different eventualities during a game, which is encouraging to see. And hopefully they will have learnt from last season, and that they must have done in terms of how that season tailed off. That if you're not playing particularly well, you get the point and you get home.
And I think we know, that teams. Well, I know we do the predict the score every week, and we get the ex-players involved on LeicesterTillIDie.com, the website. But it's so hard this year to predict everything, and you know that because you beat Man City 5-2 earlier in the season, that's very unlikely to have the same sort of outcome in the return fixture.
Yeah, they're looking very strong at the moment, aren't they? As we said, I think you put up the revenge thing for Liverpool. You did it again for Fulham. That it's important that we don't get the double done over us this season. So hopefully, I don't think we have so far, and hopefully we won't do again at the weekend with Villa. We definitely owe them one, and I think it's been mentioned a couple of times in interviews, whether it's with Brendan or a couple of the players, that the defeats that we've had have hurt them, and they've gone out there to actually rectify the wrongs, as it were.
I think as well, looking at sort of which Midlands teams are in the Premier League, this is our closest rival. that could almost be classed as, is this the closest thing we've got to a derby?
Yeah, they'll just push it as the East and West Midlands derby, won't they? They'll do that. We're probably about as close as Norwich and Ipswich, and they big that one up.
I mean, again, Facebook user, don't know who you are. You've not clicked on the StreamYard link. So, guys, if you're not, fine. If you don't want to click on the StreamYard link, it does bring your details up. If not, stick your name at the end so we can give you a shout out. Just very quickly, because we mentioned Man City, they're playing Everton tonight. And are Man City not in the Champions League, or are they playing another time? Yeah,
they've split the Champions League games over a couple of weeks now, so you get two a night, I think, over a couple of nights. So it's strung out. Not everybody plays every week.
I say, having had my jab this morning, I'm sort of floating on cloud nine, not knowing. And the voice of reason is here. The wise sage is here. For me,
indeed.
you know there's going to be a graphic coming up for that in the next couple of weeks. There's for me on that one, I think Man City are walking away with it, to be honest with you. I think they've had the bad run, they've had the bad patch. I don't think they're going to have another one. Let's be honest with you, 5-6 weeks into the season, people were saying writing Man City off. We'd beaten them and everything. For me, I don't think we're going to catch Man City, and I don't think we'll win the title this year. I think this year it's about, we got Europa last year, let's get Champions League this year, and let's just build on the momentum. So for me, a draw would be fine, but if it's got to be a win, I've got to say I'll turn the Man City win and keep Everton away from us.
Well, I know this may come as a shock, Chris, but I actually agree with you. Good job you're sitting down. Yeah, for me, even if we beat Man City in the return fixture that we've got with them, I think we're still 4 points behind. So I can't see the form that they're in. I can't see them dropping too many points, to be honest. So for me, I'm looking over my shoulder and wanting that gap to get wider each week. Yeah. So we do have that little bit of a buffer. We had it last year, we couldn't see it through. But every team that's below us now, if they're playing someone else who's in the top four, for me, I want the top four team to win. So so anybody who can put a bit of a challenge is dropping points. So for a Man City win for me is what I would say.
Yeah, I mean, we're 9 points ahead of Everton. They have got 2 games in hand. I'm trying to think. I can't remember who beat them the other night, but that was certainly helped us. It was one of the bottom teams, I think, wasn't it? Fulham.
Yeah, it was Fulham.
Yeah. And that to me, that's great, because even if they win the 2 games in hand, if we lose those 2, we're still still ahead of them. And to be honest with you, Everton, to be honest with you, you've got to look at Everton and go, with the money they've spent, they should be, and the manager they've got, they should be challenging.
They should be. I mean, on their day, they're a very, very good team. But like most teams, they don't have their day, as often as they would like. And they do have some really good players. I think what we're seeing there is a combination of things, which is their squad depth isn't as good as ours, which again is a great thing to say. They're starting to pick up injuries to some key players. Calvert-Lewin's injured again, which is good. And then you look at who they would put in behind it, and they've got Josh King, who's a decent player. You wouldn't have thought he's going to cause too many problems for too many teams. I mean, the interesting one is the fact that they let Moise Kean go off on loan to PSG, who's now banging them in on a regular basis. So something didn't work for him. It'd be interesting to see what happens to him when he comes back, because I understand that there's no fee, so Moise Kean will come back to Everton. But I don't think their squad depth is that great, to be honest. So any injuries they get, and we're seeing teams get injuries week after week now, it'll come down to squad depth as to who grabs those places, I think. So you've got to be looking at Liverpool will come back again. Chelsea, for me, are the real dangers. us, Man United and Man City. I mean, I can see that happening because I think we're probably the 5 who have got the depth of squad.
Mm. And you're not often enough you'd ever think you'd be saying that about Leicester City. Looking again to Villa, because we've got Villa coming up. They've got 2 games in hand on us as well. They've only played 22. I think they're playing possibly tonight or tomorrow, but they're 10 points behind us at the moment. So we could do, it would take a big turnaround for them to catch us up. But by their standards, it's not, after last season, they're sat there at the moment, in whatever place they are, 10th or so. It's a good season for them so far, and they must be happy.
They've had a great season, and, as much as it pains us to give credit to any other team, you have to give credit to Villa, and you have to give credit to Dean Smith. They've bought well in the summer. They've thrown a little bit of money at it. And what I do like about Villa is that they are, pretty much like Leeds. They do like to come forward. They don't sort of sit back. They try and play football. They try and attack. They try and score goals. And they are a bit of an all-action side. He's done a very good job there. Again, if they get 1 or 2 injuries, I'm not sure. If Grealish was out for any length of time, I'm not sure. If they've got anybody anywhere near capable of replacing him. Their backline has been pretty solid. I think they've, they've got 2 or 3 centre halves who can step in, and the fullbacks. I'm not sure about Matty Cash. I know there's a little bit of an injury doubt on him, but he's settled in really well this season as he come over from Forest. So they're a solid unit, and it's been a great season for them, and I can see them at least putting a strong push in for the Europa League spots come the end of the season.
That said, and Stephen Collins there saying they've renamed the Leicester treatment room MASH, and for those of us that are old enough to remember it, for the younger fans watching this evening, was it a 70s 80s TV program with Alan Alda in?
It was indeed, yeah. I was never a big fan of it, but I'm tempted to ask you what the MASH stood for, Chris, but. I'll save my questions for later.
It's Mobile Army something hospital. I'm not sure what the Surgeon's Hospital. I'm not sure what the S stands for. So I'm sure it's Mobile Army something hospital. But you used to watch it like me just for Hot Lips Houlihan, didn't you? But that's another story altogether now.
Moving on.
But Moving on, indeed. That was her name, by the way. I haven't just made that up. That was her name in the show. I really am showing my age now. I really am showing my age. Just checking there while you were talking. Villa haven't got a game midweek. So, we're worried about us having the fact that we've got the FA Cup, we've got the Europa League, we've got the Premier League. We're going to have a lot of games coming up. The likes of teams like Villa and Everton, where they've had games cancelled, they're going to be in that same position that come towards the end of the season to fit the games in. They're going to have to be playing 2 games a week, even just for Premier League.
They are, and it can go one or two ways, can't it? Because they will. They've got chances to. They've got another couple of months to get those games in. So it's not like us. If we continue to go deep into the Europa League and the FA Cup, then we're are going to be doing 2 games a week, so they will have more time to fit theirs in, but it's a nice problem to have for us. But let's say this, we didn't have any European games last year. We only had the league to concentrate on, and we managed to let it slip. Now that could have been something where it may have been that we felt the pressure of what we were trying to achieve. We had quite a few new players or younger players last year. There's nothing to say that the same won't happen to the likes of Villa and West Ham and Everton.
Can I just say, and I Googled this, but while I was Googling it, CG has come up with the same answer as me. Mobile Army Surgical Hospital. I was so close. That would have been a point on Pointless or whatever it was.
I think that's the closest you've been to any quiz question this season, Chris.
Probably. And it was we always manage to go off the topic on this show, don't we? We always manage to somehow go into non-football. But no, I agree with you. I agree with you that totally. And here's the form guide going into the weekend's game. They only managed to draw. Well, only managed to draw. Brighton are not on a bad run themselves. Of course, they had that win over Arsenal, lost to West Ham, they beat Southampton, who after a good start, them struggling themselves, but they lost to Burnley. I think the word there is inconsistency.
It is, isn't it? I mean, you look at that. Letting in 3 to West Ham, 3 to Burnley, and the Burnley one will have hurt them badly, I think. And it's strange because, I think because they play expansive football, I think if you move the ball quickly against them, you're going to get opportunities. You're going to get a chance to get at their back four. And I think that's what Burnley do. We all know that Burnley moves the ball quickly and very often miss out the midfield. So as soon as it breaks down, they'd be straight at their back four. West Ham can move the ball pretty quickly as well. So I think it's the turnovers that are going to be the key for us. So, the likes of Wilf and then releasing players who can attack quickly is going to be key and get at them because, we'll touch on it when we look at the team later. They've got some players who are, shall we say, not necessarily lazy, but they like to do their work going one way. And I'm not sure that they're so good at tracking back. So, our transitions are going to be key in that game.
Don't know who they are. They've not put the name on there, but they were having the same thoughts as me, I think, with the Hot Lips Houlihan. Yes. Sorry, that's completely...
You've lost it, Chris, haven't you? You've lost it.
This is very unprofessional of me. I'm sorry. We, apart from the Leeds game, our own run of form has been really good, though, by comparison.
It has. There's a couple of disappointing. The Wolves game was disappointing and could have gone either way, I guess. But look at the games that we've won, particularly Liverpool. I mean, they've got to take a lot of confidence from that Liverpool performance. The way that they went on, they got back into it, but then we didn't sort of sit back and say, right, we've got the point, we're going to take it, and the point's a good result. We were very offensive and went forward and went for the win. And they've got to be taking that into the next game. And every game now, they've got to be on the front foot. And we've talked about this on numerous occasions. We play better when we're on the front foot. We play better when we're playing at pace. We have players who can hurt people if we move the ball quickly. So it's when we sit back and we allow the opposition to dictate the pace, like we did at Wolves, for instance, that we come unstuck. So I think it's important that we set the pace against Villa if we can.
But is the Wolves game, I mean, I looked at that and I thought probably a couple of seasons ago, that's the sort of game we would have lost.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point, because I think there's been a few games like that this season. I think Brendan said the same thing, that we would have lost or we wouldn't have come back in games. I mean, it's interesting. I think... I'm not sure who it is. There's one team who's above it. I think it's Manchester United. Apart from Manchester United, we've won the most points coming from behind this season. So, that shows the strength of character that we've got. I've criticised us in the past for lacking bottle. But I think that's more of a physical thing than a mental thing. But it does show that we have got players now who can hurt opposition and we're fit. We do run, so we do go to the end, and we've got people off the bench who can make a difference. So, we're in a good spot. Exactly. I mean, I agree with Stephen. That's it. We need to do that. I always find it disappointing when we're slow, we move the ball slowly. I mean, any team, teams in the Premier League, any team in the Premier League can defend a slow team now. We could probably be in the back four of Sheffield United, for instance, Chris, if we were playing slow, or maybe not you.
No.
But it seems so well
all the pies. You know, the goalkeeper that
Teams are
pies. He got banned for eating
Oh,
the
right,
pasty. That was me.
That was you, was it?
That was,
Right.
yes.
Okay. Well, you're fame. But I think it's a fair point. You know that teams are so well organised. You know, they're so well coached these days. We've seen it so many times. You know, as soon as the ball gets down, if you don't move it quickly, teams get behind the ball, and it's difficult for us. So we do need to play at pace.
I know we're going to be looking at your team in a while, and you always let me know in advance what that team's going to be. But I know we've got tomorrow night's game, so hopefully this won't get worse. But just looking at our injuries here, I mean, Ricardo apparently he's only being rested because he's not gone to Czechoslovakia or the Czech Republic. Sorry, again showing my age. Castagna, they've got quite possibly could make it back. Pratt, Fofana, Perez, Justin Morgan, all ruled out.
Yeah, it's looking a little bit iffy, isn't it, at the minute? You know, we do seem to be picking up innocuous injuries. The James Justin was an innocuous injury. Even Perez, Perez getting a knock, now out for 2 or 3 weeks. I think he clashed with the goalkeeper. But they are stacking up, and it's important. I don't think we can afford to lose many more of our senior players, shall we say. I think that's probably why they're being a little bit cautious with Ricardo. You know, now you're into, of your senior players, you've got Castagna, hopefully, who will be back at the weekend, and then Ricardo with Justin being out. So I think they're right to be a little bit cautious and test the depth of squad. I mean, it is a two-legged affair. So hopefully, if we come back, with at least a draw, we should be able to finish it off in the second leg. But I think he's got to just manage the players at the minute, and it's a difficult time. We definitely can't afford any more. I think with Ricardo, I think they said. I mean, Brendan came out and said they were just managing. They got a program for him, and they were managing his time, his pitch time. So as he didn't have any recurrence. Said he felt a little bit tight after the game at the weekend. So precautionary, they just left him behind. But hopefully that is a precaution, and there isn't anything sinister lurking behind it.
I love James Maddison's interview when he kind of reminded the watching public that Liverpool weren't the only teams that have injuries. And talking of that, I mean, earlier in the season, our injuries problems were probably worse than they are at the moment. And I don't know whether I'm got a false sense of security here, but I don't feel as worried knowing what we went through earlier in the season and those players that were there to come in. That said, it is 2 games again, but we've got through it already this season.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's difficult when I was picking the team for the weekend. Obviously, I've got no idea what team he's going to pick for a start against Slavia Prague, and hopefully we'll all come through unscathed and people won't be too tired. But I think the key thing is, we've got talented players. And even if we're having to bring them in off the bench, we've got talented players. I think the key is to keep the experienced players fit, for that run-in. I think that's the key. Not necessarily a talent versus talent. It's the experience that will see us through to the end. So that's where I think he needs to just manage it. And if it means for 1 or 2 games, then some of the younger ones or the fringe ones get a game, then fair enough. I think we have to take that chance. But we definitely need our most experienced team come for the run-in of the last half a dozen games.
And we can't even say, what game do you prioritise, the Europa League or the league? If you're the Premier League, which of the 2 league games do you prioritise? Now, The Europa League, it's not a league. It's now sudden death, albeit over 2 matches. Premier League, it's too tight to sort of, ease up. This is where he's going to earn his money.
Definitely, and I'm sure that Brendan's priority will be a top 4 finish in the league, because if we slip out again, as you said, we're the only team that's been in the top 4 the whole season. If we slip out of it again, then people will start to question Brendan. And I think that's the last thing you want. They won't question the players. They will a little bit, maybe their mentality or whatever. Yeah. But at the end of it, the book will stop with Brendan Rodgers. And if he allows that to happen 2 seasons running, then questions will be asked of him, as to whether he's the bottler. Is he as good as he thinks he is? All these kind of questions. So I think from a personal and an ego point of view, I think Brendan will be focusing on a top 4 finish above anything else.
But it's quite right. I know there's a lot of teams or a lot of fans sort of say once those players go over the white line, it's down to them. But the manager is the manager, or the coach, whatever you want to call him. The book should stop with him, shouldn't it?
It should. I mean, I don't understand this. Yes, once the players walk over the line, they have to put the plan into place. They have to perform at the best of their ability. But if it was just about the players, then you or I could be a manager. We could go and take that team. Managers wouldn't come and go if it was all about the players. Motivation is a key. We've seen it it's happening at Spurs again, like it did at Manchester United. That Mourinho seems to be sort of losing players, and his man management style is being questioned again. It happens everywhere. At the end of it, if it was just the players, we could all take a manager's job, but it's not.
Brilliant. Well, we're just going to take a quick break, and then we'll be back. I tell you what, I don't know what they put in them injections, but I tell you, I'm not having another one. No, joking aside, we're going to take a quick break, and then we will be back, and we'll be looking at what you think Brendan's going to do on Sunday following tomorrow. We'll be right back after these 2 ads.
Hi, Alan Smith here. Be sure to watch and listen to Chris on Leicester Till I Die TV. You can also subscribe on YouTube and various social media channels. Up the Foxes!
This is Leicester Till I Die TV. Please subscribe now on YouTube.
It is Leicester Till I Die TV, and please, as they give us that subscribe. Our first goal of 500 is getting closer. Help us reach it. As it says there, Craig's team selection. He's been getting closer, and it was getting a little bit easier because we only had 1 game a week, and it pretty much was picking itself. Now he's got to be a little bit cleverer, and he's got to think. We've got a game net tomorrow night, which we don't know how he's going to go with that. Were you surprised, first of all, against Liverpool, Ricardo starting on the left?
I was surprised, to be honest, and I've got to say, for that first 15, 20 minutes, I was thinking that is a mistake, because Liverpool were back to their old successful trick of playing long diagonal balls, and he got caught out 2 or 3 times. Yeah. And Salah was very clever. He was just sauntering back, not looking interested. Then all of a sudden, as soon as Henderson got the ball, he was on his bike, and he got caught out a little bit. The same on the other side, really, with Amati. I'm always nervous when Amati is playing right back. I can cope with him as a centre half. As a right back, to me, he just looks like he's got a bad challenge in him. And the one where we got away with it with Mane coming sliding in on him, I don't know how much time he thought he had when that ball was in that box, but he seemed to take an age to react. So I was questioning. I must admit, I was questioning the thought process behind that. But at the end of it, they grew into the roles a bit more, and Marty did, and Pereira did. But I'd like to see him back on the right.
I think, as we say, needs must at times, and that was probably a needs must game. Okay, bring the team up here. Talk us through it.
Yeah, so, I mean, if people are looking at that, they'll see one thing sort of... hi, Chris.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've put Chris in there as a right wing back, as you can see. Yeah, the biggest thing there is down the right hand side. So let's just go through it as we are. So Schmeichel, Soyuncu, Evans as centre halves. I'm expecting Castagna to be fit. All the noise coming out from Brendan seems to be that he should be fresh and ready for the weekend. So I think they'll put him in there. And Ricardo back to right back. Ndidi, who I thought was man of the match. I know it was given to Barnes during the game, but for me, Ndidi was phenomenal against Liverpool, as he has been for virtually every game since he's come back. And I know Brendan's been talking about him today as being irreplaceable. So I'm not sure whether there's new contracts in talk with Ndidi like there is with Tielemans, but I think he's phenomenal. There definitely should be. You know, we need to tie him down. And this is one of those things. You know, just slightly off the team selection. How important that top four is for us now, because players want to play in the Champions League now, whether it's through the Europa League or whether it's through the league. These top players want to be playing Champions League football, and I'm sure they would be happy to be able to do it with Leicester because they will have earned the success with Leicester. But if we're not in there, there's going to be no shortage of teams coming after these players, not just from the Premier League. You know, you look around some of the big teams in Europe who are going to have to rebuild. Real Madrid, Barcelona definitely need to rebuild. So our players are going to be sought after. So we're in that position now where before Champions League was a nice to have and it was a bit of a dream and we did it once. Now, if we want to continue this success with the players we've got, it's a must have. So that's why I think. Just
going back to what you were saying about the contracts, I agree. We should need to tie them down, and it's like, you know, Mendy. I think it was only a year he signed, and I think we definitely need to get him in for longer because he's a great squad player. But they're not really worth the paper they're written on, are they? All it could probably do is guarantee us a minimum price that if he does go.
It does. I mean, it issues a sort of hands off, and it does show that that we are, you know, we're in the stronger position that we can hold out. If we didn't have Maguire on a contract that had another 2 or 3 years, you know, we wouldn't have been able to have such a strong hold over him, you know, and manage to get 80 million. You know, the same for Chilwell and our recent ones. So I think it does strengthen our position. I fully expect us to lose one player this season. Now, I'm not sure who it may be. I think the model appears to be that we'll lose one a season to refund basically us bringing in 1, 2, 3 other players. You know, we've done it the last few seasons. Chilwell last season, Maguire before. So I expect us to lose one, and I think Leicester fans have to be prepared for that. But we need to get Wilf on a contract because he may be the one anyway. Because I'm sure people are going to come with some big money in the summer.
I mean, there's so many that you could name, isn't there? You know, like you say, Wilf, Fofana. You know, there's players there that Barnes. If you know that there are Maddison. I could just go on and on. You know, but like you say, you know, we're not a selling club like we, in the sense that like we used to be, where we had to sell to survive. Now we sell because we've been offered a hell of a lot of money that we can't turn down. But anyway, going back to your team, it gets interesting.
So, indeed. So then, obviously, Tielemans and Maddison, both in decent form, and Barnes has had a great season, and again showed against Liverpool what he could do. So I'm sure the contentious one for a lot of people is the Daly Campbell. And I was quite prepared to have to argue my case here with Steve Lynex if he was on. But I've gone for Daly Campbell. I almost went for under, but I've gone for Daly Campbell. And the reason being for this is that, for me, Albrighton looked very, very leggy against Liverpool. And that was from the off. And against Villa, I don't think you can afford that. Now, Daly Campbell is defensively minded. You know, he is a right back. However, before he did play right midfield as well. He has played as a wing back. And I think he's got the pace and the power to cause some trouble. Now, Grealish will be down that side. So I'm sure that they want to double up on Grealish. But when the ball's turned over, we've got to exploit that space because Grealish doesn't like tracking back. So we've got to be able to exploit that. Now, for me, Daly Campbell gives us the pace, or whether it's Pereira, whoever's turning that ball over, gives us the pace to be able to exploit that space and get at Matt Targett, who likes to push forward in his own right as well. And I don't think you get that with Albrighton. So I think it's really important that as soon as we turn over ball, we play quick. And that's why I've gone for Daly Campbell, just because he can do the double up job. And that's why he got the nod over under. He can do the double up job if defensively on Grealish, but when the ball turns over, he's a quick lad and he's powerful, so he would transition much quicker, and that's why I've given him the nod.
What was the game that he actually played in? I'm trying to remember. Was it the Brighton game?
It was the Brighton game, wasn't it? And to be honest, I thought... No, I thought he was puffing a little bit after 70 minutes, but then again, he got his second wind, it seemed, and it was him who forced the corner that we eventually scored from. So he does like to get forward. And as I say, I think, at some point, we've got to be playing some of these fringe players or younger players because we may need them. So this is a game where I think it would suit him rather than Albrighton or under.
And I think definitely, I mean, we have to remember that Albrighton, I don't think was as many players, wasn't expecting to play as many games as he probably has done this season. I think he was probably, certainly I was probably looking at Albrighton as a super sub coming on the last 15 minutes and really running at the defence and getting the crosses in when they're tired. To me, Albrighton has been a revelation, totally revelation this season. Having said that, a lot of players have, but he might play tomorrow. So, like you said, I think now 2 games a week. If you have to, you have to. But I think, like you say, Daly Campbell, I think is a. He's come from Arsenal. I mean, as Stephen Collins has just said here. How did Arsenal let him go? Great pickup by the Foxes. He's only had 1 game, but, you've got Luke Thomas, you've got Daly Campbell. We know we've got all these players coming through. And I, as I say, I probably can't, I'd like to see Under start more, but I get what you mean. Under's not the most defensive of players. Striker, we don't need to even go there. We know it's going to be Mr. Vardy up front. So
Perez is injured, so I'm going to have to go with Vardy.
Perez is injured, so who knows? Who knows what? So whether we will see him again this season. There's something Brendan likes about Perez, isn't there? But hey. At the end of the day, if we get Champions League football, we finish 2nd or 3rd, Brendan can walk on water. Classic match. It's that time. Now, guys, if you're thinking about going, don't go, because this is where I need your help. This is where the wise old sage looks back at a classic game between the 2 teams and then asks a question that, to be totally honest with you, wouldn't be out of place in the Encyclopedia Britannica. So I will need your help with this. I always do.
So many questions I could give you about this game, but at least we're coming a little bit closer to the present day. So we've left the 80s behind. We're into the mid 90s this year, Chris. So a bit more recent memory for you. You were probably just leaving school because you were kept back for 20 years. So 22nd of February 1995. This was a game I was actually at, so I do remember it very well. And I remember
I can ticket. I'm guessing.
Of course. I can still remember the looks on the faces of some of the Villa fans. We didn't start too well in this game. I mean, if you look at the respective teams. I mean, Villa had a much stronger team. They had the likes of Dean Saunders, Dwight York were playing up front for Villa. We had Mark Robbins and Ewan Roberts up front for us. And if you look at our back line, which was Colin Hill Mike Whitlow, Mike Galloway, and Jimmy Willis. And Mike Whitlow had to go off injured. Yeah, Mike Whitlow had to go off injured before 30 minutes. But anyway, so we had a slow start. Dean Saunders gave Villa the lead in the 6th minute. Steve Staunton got a second for them, and we went in 2-0 down and not really in the game. Come out for a second half comeback, we're expecting, and on the hour mark, Dwight York pops up and makes it 3-0 to the Villa. We managed to get a goal back a minute later through Mark Robbins, but then a couple of minutes after that, Tommy Johnson made it 4-1. Poor old Tommy Johnson, whatever happened to him? Oh, he went to Derby, didn't he?
Yeah.
But yeah, so 65 minutes gone, 4-1 down. Villa fans. Now, the Villa fans at that time, the Leicester fans were at the side of the pitch, I think, down at the opposite the Holt end, but we were at the side of the pitch. So you had Villa fans to the right, you had Villa fans above as well, and we were getting pelters, and obviously they were laughing at us. Anyway, Ewan Roberts pops up in the 67th minute to make it 4-2. Even then, we don't think, anything else is going to happen. David Lowe has come on then as a sub, and in the 80th minute he makes it 4-3, and then lo and behold, in the I think it was about the 92nd minute, he gets a second, and we come out with a 4-4 draw from a game where we were 4-1 down and totally out of the game, and the Villa fans hated it. I can assure you they absolutely hated it, and the Leicester fans were laughing in their faces. It was a fantastic match. We didn't play great. But, this is where that sort of Foxes never quit thing started. We were dead and buried in that game, and we managed to come back and get a draw. In the end, it did no good, because this was the season when the Premier League went from 22 teams down to 20. So there was 4 teams relegated, and we were one of them. And Villa missed out. Villa stayed up. They finished 18th out of the 22 teams, so they just stayed up. 4 teams went down. We would have gone down anyway because we were only 1 off the bottom. We didn't have a great team, and Mark McGee, the lovely Mark McGee, who we all love and admire and think of fondly, he managed to take us down before he went off to Wolves. But a great game. So, Chris, this team that we played, there was one player in here. We had some decent players in the midfield. Mark Draper, Gary Parker, but Steve Thompson. Now, you remember Steve Thompson very fondly. Steve Thompson, scorer of the third and equalising goal at Wembley against Swindon.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, a really good player for us. What I'd like you to tell me, Chris, Steve Thompson, where did we buy him from and who did we sell him to?
So where did we buy him from, and
who did we sell him to?
2 different teams, is it?
Yeah, it is.
Help me out here, guys. While I'm thinking about that, and I'm not Googling it, because if I was Googling it, I wouldn't have got as many wrong as I have done this season. It is time for score predictions. I'll be thinking about that at the time while we do this. Score prediction time, though. Here we go with the X Foxes. You can pick this up and see how we've been doing on www.leicestertillidie.com. Walshy, Steve Walsh there has gone 2-1 to Leicester. Steve Lynex, he's gone for the draw, 1-1. Which is fine because he's got 1 right all season, so that every time he doesn't think we win, we win. Keep it up, Steve. Marshy's gone 2-1 to Leicester as well, and I've gone 2-0 to Leicester. I'm feeling confident that we're going to keep a clean sheet. Dare I say 3-1 to you, Craig?
You might. I didn't say it against Liverpool, did I? It's typical.
Yeah. Yeah, it was exactly. That is true.
The worrying thing for me, Chris, is that for the second time this evening, I'm going to agree with you, and I'm going to go for a 2-0.
This is totally unknown.
I know. I'm not feeling proud of myself.
You finally, I've got to admit, I'm glad you finally accepted the reality of the situation. You have to agree with me. 2-0, that would be very nice, wouldn't it? That would be very nice.
It would.
CG here has gone Burnley. I don't know if that's being bought from or sold to. Is that one of the teams?
It is one of the teams. Which would you go for? Did we buy him or sell him?
Can I and I'm asking the audience, can I take a 50-50? I'm going to say bought from.
Well done, Chris. You got it wrong. 50-50, you got it wrong.
50-50. Well, exactly. So, of course, it could have been either. So we sold him to Burnley. So where did we buy him from? Was it a Premier League team?
At the time or now?
Yes. No, at the time.
I don't know, but they're not now. I don't think they were then either.
No. Stephen Collins here. He's got from Barnsley and to Burnley.
Definitely to Burnley. I'll give you a clue, Chris.
Not from Barnsley then.
Just because I'm feeling kind. We currently have a player on loan at the club that we bought Steve Thompson from.
The first thing that springs to mind is Luton. No,
I'm not going to react until you confirm that that's a guess, Chris.
Final answer: Luton.
It was Luton, indeed.
Really? Well,
we bought him from Luton and we sold him to Burnley.
I always liked Steve Thompson. Like I say, that goal against Swindon. I mean, I don't think I've ever that made it 3-0. You said, didn't you? If I remember right.
He did.
Yes.
Yeah.
Classic game. Brilliant. So, as always, thank you very much, Craig.
You're welcome, Chris.
Scott's gone. This is going to be a high-scoring game. 5-2 to Leicester. Whoa! Wow.
I'll take that, Scott.
Yes. We will see who's going to be right. Thank you very much. Who have we got coming up? So we've got Villa at the weekend. We've got Braga. What am I saying? We've got Sparta Prague tomorrow and Arsenal next weekend.
Arsenal, yeah.
Arsenal. And we are possibly, guys, if you are watching Arsenal, we are possibly going to be doing a live watch along with that and just see how that pans out. So we might be doing that. So keep your eyes peeled for that. We're not going to be doing a John Motson. You watch the match and you just chat with us as if we're watching it down a pub. I can't talk today. Honestly, this is gin I'm drinking here. Do you know?
Yeah.
It's my age. It's my age. I need to get off and go to bed. It's past my bedtime. That's what it is. Craig, thank you very much, young man.
Yeah, you're welcome, and you're right there. We did get James Justin from there. Yeah, thanks, Chris. Great fun as always, and thanks everyone for watching and taking part.
Brilliant. And I will say goodbye and thank you to my wise old sage.
Cheers, Chris. Bye, everyone.
Take care. Thanks for joining us, Craig. As always, he is the man with the knowledge. Gets us through the show. Without him, I would just sound stupid. He makes me look good. What more can you say? And that's not easy, guys. We're about to end the match tomorrow. Catch us, Steve Collins. Thanks very much for your message. Great show, gents. Thank you very much, Stephen. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to everybody that's joined us. Tomorrow night, it's a 5 to 6 kickoff. So that means that we will be with the pre-show here at about 5 o'clock, 5 o'clock-ish for the pre-show. And then 45 minutes after the final whistle, we will be doing the post-match with Brad and Julian Watts, ex-Leicester player, hopefully. So, and then on Friday, I'm back again. On Friday when we'll be talking to a Villa fan on the Opposition View show. Guys, take care, stay safe, whatever you do, wherever you go. Don't do anything I wouldn't enjoy. Enjoy yourselves, and we will see you tomorrow night. Good night now, and thanks for joining us.
Leicester Till I Die podcasts on the Apple iTunes, Spotify, Google, Anchor, and all podcast platforms.
Thanks for watching Leicester Till I Die. This is Chris saying goodbye, and see you next time.